What's going on, you guys? Your boy Ben Mahari here, representing Mahari Nation Sports Podcast. Much love to all my brothers out there, all my subscribers out there, and to the rest of the LDBC community out there, man. Now, I'm just gonna get straight to the chase here. So, last night, um, Russell Westbrook, had an apparent ankle injury and was walking himself back into the tunnel, to get the ankle checked out. When it came out of the blue, a some idiotic Philadelphia fan decided to throw popcorn as Russell Westbrook was walking to the tunnel. And if it wasn't for the security that was around him to basically prevent him from going into the stands and fighting with the fan, we would have had another incident like we had at the Malice at the Palace back in 2004. And this is not the first time that you know we've had incidents with the fan sport, which it's been apparent in NBA history. But however, this is not the first time that Russell Westbrook has had a confrontation with fans. We had a fan when we was playing with the Thunder. There was a fan in Denver that basically was up in his face, up in his grill, and familiar as well. Years ago, we also had another Philadelphia Sixers fan that gave two middle fingers right in front of Russell Westbrook's play that was posted live on broadcast television. Okay, and we've heard stories about his trips to Utah, how racist the Utah fans are when it comes to black athletes. All right, and so really, what I'm trying to tell y'all is that this kind of behavior needs to stop. All right, because I swear to you, we are very, very close to having another brawl incident like we had back in November 19th of 2004. You know what I mean? I'm still remember it. I watched it live when it was on television. It was between the Pacers and the Pistons, the teams that then met each other in the 2004 Eastern Conference Finals. It was a very physical series. You know what I mean? And to this day, you know, people still talk about how that idiotic fan threw the beer bottle, threw the cup at Ron Artest, while he was lying down on the scores table after getting to a shoving match with Ben Wallace, who wanted no parts of Ben Wallace. I don't care what anyone else says. Ben Wallace was a different breed then, and Ron Artest knew he couldn't bully Wallace. But the bottom line is that Artest was doing the right thing. He was trying to cool himself down until the fan threw the cup at him and all hell broke loose. All right. And I'm gonna tell you something. We during this last decade, we've had close incidents with fans against these players all the time. It's one of the big reasons why I've really gotten into a lot of these sporting events. The last sporting event I went to was before the pandemic, is when the Milwaukee Bucks traveled to town to face against the Minnesota Timberwolves. And I was sitting with some friends in the nosebleed section. And I had to sit there and listen to these idiotic fans talk all this personal garbage and all this, you know, disdain for Giannis and a lot of these other players. And I'm like, what is the matter with y'all? These these players didn't come to hear you. They come to what? They came here to play the sport that they love. You know what I mean? And after the whole game, I was just vividly disgusted. And I told myself I'm never going to go to another sporting event for a while because this kind of behavior needs to change. You know what I mean? Yeah, you bought your ticket, but it doesn't mean you have the right to say anything you want towards these players. All right, and you better be thankful that Philadelphia fan that threw popcorn at him. You better be thankful that there was a circle of security that was around him to prevent him from going into the stands. Because I promise you, if that wasn't the case, you would have seen another incident that we saw back in 2004. And I'm telling y'all, I'm sick and tired of a lot of these idiotic sports fans, not just in the NBA, but in the NFL and NHL and MLB for that matter, that think that they can do whatever they want to these athletes, say whatever they want, throw anything at them, and think they're not going to get any pushback. Not knowing the fact that a lot of these guys are around 6 feet to 6'10", that are built like machines. All right, and they're human too. So whenever they want smoke with you, don't try to play victim when the heat hits the fan. All right, I'm sick and tired of a lot of these fans that they're trying to play the victim role when all of a sudden they want to smoke with all these athletes and they're not ready to deal with the consequences when it comes with it. All right, And I hate the fact that a lot of the media, you know, it's pretty much is trying to paint the narrative of a lot of these black athletes that they're always angry, that they're always violent and confrontational and all. No, not understanding the fact that they deal with a lot of verbal abuse from these fans on a regular basis. I mean, I've heard stories of fans saying the most vile type of stuff to these athletes. It's amazing how much they don't have not lost their control. You know what I mean? Listen, the NBA is trying to maintain that careful image ever since the melee at the Palace back in 2004. And I promise you that one brawl is what started the transition of the NBA to trying to distance themselves from being that all physical league to now a soft finesse type of league. You know what I'm saying? And so Russell Westbrook did absolutely nothing wrong. You know what I mean? And I salute him for pretty much addressing the whole situation because it continues to further our point about why these kinds of incidents are going to continue to escalate. I promise you, someday soon, I promise you this, someday soon, there's going to be another familiar type of brawl that we had in the Palace back in 2004. And when that happens, and I'm not saying if, it's only a matter of when. When that happens, I don't want to hear anybody playing any victim roles from these fans to talk about, oh, these athletes assaulted me, oh, because I said this and that. Nope, I don't want to hear it. You know what I mean? You don't have the right to say whatever you want to say to these athletes, all right? Because they're playing their same sport for nearly from November all the way towards April. And for some of these guys that play deep into the playoffs, mostly through May or June. And so don't sit here and try to play this victim role when they have a lot of stuff going through their minds right now. All right. And just because you want to cheer for your team, that doesn't give you the right to talk crap about them whenever you feel like it. All right, because newsflash, if you decide to do something to them, not only did you be kicked out of the arena, you're also subjected to arrest and probably be sent to jail for basically what you're doing. And so, quite frankly, man, I can't. The NBA needs to do something about this. The NBA needs to continue to tighten up its security and start tightening up on these fans that want to come in here and start a fracas for their own personal entertainment. And I can't stand that. All right, talking, cheering for your team is fine. All right, criticizing them is one thing, but talking personal stuff to them, throwing objects at them, what do you expect them to do? What do you expect? Did you expect them to have some sort of restraint or whatever? Please, please. And let me tell you something. I have no problem for what Vernon Maxwell did back in 1995 when he was in Portland. All right, when he walked into the stands and punched the fan in the face by basically talking stuff about uh his physically ill daughter. All right, you know why? Because no fan has the right to talk that kind of crap to these players and not understanding the personal struggles they're going through on and off the court or on and off the field. All right, Russell Westbrook did not do anything wrong, and he was trying to get his ankle back right. To continue on playing in these playoffs. And all of a sudden, the fan wants to make it about themselves. Please, please, the NBA needs to do something about this. Like I said before earlier in the video, and I'm gonna continue to say it. It's only a matter of time before we have another brawl at the Palace that we had back in 2004. And trust me, the NBA at this state right now does not want to deal with that. I promise you. They don't want to deal with another familiar situation that they had in 2004, where it's going to ruin, the reputation for the league for a while. It took them a long time to rekindle their so-called perceived image after that brawl at the Palace. But now, at this state, they don't want to deal with that. So that's just my 2 cents. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. And with that, I'm out. Peace.